Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Junette. I'm a street photographer based out of California, and today I'm taking you on another one of my weekly photo walks. For this video, I wanted to check out a new location. I'm in Leucadia, which is a city in California, but specifically in San Diego County. It's a sleepy surfer town. There's not a whole lot going on. I just wanted to take it easy in this video because it's a special one, and I basically have a new lens here that was sent out to me by TTArtisan. This is the 50mm f2. This is a full frame, unlike the one they sent me before, which was APS-C. This is actually a Sony E-mount full frame. One thing I like to do when I get a lens from a brand is I like to take it out on the streets, you know, show you guys what it's like to use, what the photos look like. So I try to give you like a real life, you know, what's it like to use this lens out in the field. So I'm going to talk about like the focus ring, the aperture ring, and all that. And then later on, when I get back to my studio, I will show you guys a little bit more of the specs and just kind of give you my final thoughts on that. So let's go for a walk. So the first thing about this lens is that it is a manual focus lens, which excites me a lot. I'm getting really tired of autofocus lenses. They don't bring any excitement to my photography, so I'm super stoked that TTArtisan sent me out this manual focus lens. It's a 50mm f2, like I said, so it still allows for plenty of low light shooting. We're just going to kind of walk around, and what's nice about the 50mm is that, you know, you can kind of keep your distance, especially since I'm walking around in a neighborhood like this, which is pretty tight, and I don't want to, you know, bring too much attention. So I'm just going to take pictures of things that I find beautiful. First thing I want to say about this lens is, just like the APS-C version that I was sent, the 25mm, this focus ring is butter. It is so nice. I mean, I can't even believe it. This is a, I believe, $70 lens. I'll put up the exact price on the screen there, but the focus ring, and not only that, but the aperture ring are just so refined. Like, this is something you would expect from a lens that was like $600, $700, $800. I just bought a new lens from Voigtlander. That's going to come in another video. That's going to be an exciting one for those of you who are interested in adapting Leica lenses onto Sonys. Anyways, that lens was about $700, and the focus ring, in my opinion, doesn't feel as nice as this one. And I was a little bit slow to focus on that one because I wasn't in range focus. But yeah, so this lens, it feels so good in comparison to that Voigtlander lens that I bought, which is like, you know, 10 times the price. It does have the same markings, so if you're going to do some range focusing, which is beneficial, you have that option as well. And one of the complaints that I had about the other lens was that the focus ring was a little bit too close to my fingers. It's still kind of is. I don't know if you guys can see that, but not, it doesn't feel as close as the other one. I'll have to test that when I get back. I just noticed this as I was walking by, but there's like a little message board here, and it says, maybe the amount of extraordinary things that happen in your life depends on what you notice. And I thought that was quite relevant to street photography and, you know, what we do. Beautiful things are around us, great compositions are there, but if you don't notice them, you will not get them. And the way to get better at noticing is exactly what we're doing here today, and that is taking photos in the streets of mundane things, guys on surfboards like that. Man, if I was a little bit closer, that would have been nice, but it's kind of an interesting scene here. I like this. It's just very very California. I like to shoot that, so we are shooting at f8 right now. I think I want to get one with the ocean. It's very easy and fast to focus. just such a California scene to see like a Euro van, you know, parked up in this like dirt parking lot, and it's got flat tires, so it has, oh my god, it hasn't moved probably God knows how long. Kind of want that now. Just kind of like all the different shadows and stuff that are present. Dude, that's nice. Man, it just looks so good. Yo. I hope you guys liked the photos and enjoyed that chill little walk around Lucadia, California. As promised, I do just want to go over a few things about this lens to kind of give you guys, you know, the specs and kind of the final verdict whether or not you should buy this lens from TTArtisan. As you guys saw in the camera, the size of this thing is perfect, especially for the A7C II, even for the A7C or any sort of compact. I'm sure it would be fine for like the A7 IV as well, but it really suits the A7C II because of the compact body. The lens, it's really light, and I gotta say, you don't even notice it when it's on the camera. It's like perfectly balanced. As for the builds, you know, it's a fully metal construction. It's built very well. As I told you guys before, the focus ring and the aperture ring are just butter. It's like they just injected some butter in there that just never, you know, goes away, and it's perfect. It's so smooth. It's everything you would want in a focus ring and aperture ring. I just want to make a little mention about the image quality, which is always important when you buy a lens, because you don't want it to be, you know, really soft or, you know, just bad image quality. You want the images to be sharp, and I can guarantee you that these images are very sharp. Check out the raw files. They actually look quite nice. You know, with just a few adjustments, the photos are ready to go. But on some of these, I'm just like, wow, that raw looks pretty good. You know, might just throw in a little contrast, even though this lens does add some nice contrast to the photos. You know, give it a little touch of warmth, and the photos like ready, you know. So the raws are actually pretty nice. You know, I shoot at f5.6 and up. I'm a street photographer, so I'm shooting f8, f11. I don't really care about f2, f1.4, f1.8. Those things are not interesting to me, and I don't base my sort of compositions around those f-stops. However, it's sharp, you know, all the way through, and at f2 there is some vignetting, but again, like, what lens doesn't have vignetting? And of course, you know, you can correct all that stuff in Lightroom. Of course, it's probably going to have more vignetting than, let's say, a $2,000 GM lens. But again, I'm going to get to the price, which is the next point, but you know, you can't really go wrong. The other added benefit is the fact that it's a full frame lens. You know, my previous complaint on the one they sent me before was that it was APS-C. So all my photos were coming out at like 14 megapixels, which to me is very uninteresting. I want, you know, my 33 megapixels. I know that might sound kind of weird, but it's like, you don't really care about your 33 megapixels until you lose them. It's like you don't know what you have until it's gone. That kind of you know, thing. So the final point I want to touch on is the price. And for $69, can you actually go wrong with all the things that I mentioned? It is a sort of dream price for a nice compact 50 millimeter f2. I mean, the thing is, like, you're paying $69 and a person would expect that the optics would be terrible, the build quality is junk, but that is actually not the case with this lens. So, you know, you're getting a modern manual focus lens that's built like a tank, and it's got all the features you need. It even has an aperture ring, which on these days, you know, a lot of the lenses that come out, some of them have it, but most of them don't. So I could actually only come up with 2 cons, and I hate to mention this, but I have to because this is just something that's important to me. But the first con is that there is no lens hood that comes with the lens. I know it's very trivial in some people's eyes, but it's just like imagine your car comes without like the sun visors, you know, the ones that pop down. Like it's something that you don't use super often, but when you do use it, you're like, oh, okay, this is nice. And like, imagine if you bought a car that just didn't have those and you didn't have your sunglasses. Like, it's kind of annoying, but that's like, you know, the worst thing that's about this lens. The second con, which is the last one, is that it has like that screw-on lens cap. Again, I appreciate that it's metal, you know, it feels very nicely built. It's also nice knowing that it won't just pop off because you have to turn it like 2 or 3 times for it to be put on or taken off. But sometimes it's just slow to remove, you know, so that's my only gripe with that. Sometimes you might be in a situation where you have it on and you see something like right before you're about to start shooting, and you're like trying to fumble and it falls on the ground, and it just, I don't like the screw-on feature, but you know, it works for the price. Just a few concluding thoughts. You know, to me, this is a fast little nifty 50 that I think you're going to be happy with for many, many years. Like, you always have to ask yourself, do you need to buy the Sigma or the Sony variant for, you know, $600-700 more? I mean, you could, but I don't think it will change much about your photos, especially since this lens is really sharp anyways. And I feel like for the most part, you know, there's also things like chromatic aberration and lens flaring, which this lens doesn't flare at all. I shouldn't say that. I mean, it probably will flare, but I never got it to flare. But like, to me, those lenses are pretty obsolete unless you need autofocus. If you need autofocus, of course, go for those. But if you don't need autofocus and you just want like a little street lens to take about and make your camera compact and less suspicious on the streets, this 50 is like perfect. It's also nice too if you've always been shooting autofocus and you're like, you want to get into manual focus, but you don't feel like paying, you know, $700 for a nice Voigtlander, to get into sort of the manual focus lenses, and not having to worry about like buying a vintage one and it's just like not working right. $69 for a modern, you know, manual focus lens is perfect in my opinion. I'll leave a couple links down below for you guys. You know, this lens comes in many different mounts, so it doesn't have to be Sony. It can be, you know, Fuji or whatever you shoot. There's like several different mounts you can get this lens on, so check out those links down below. I want to thank TTArtisan for sending this lens out to me, and as you guys know, all the thoughts are my own. I don't let anybody see these videos before they are made, so don't worry, I'm not being paid to say all this stuff. These are my genuine thoughts. If the lens sucked, I would tell you guys, but this one is really a good bang for your buck. And I also want to thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you like Sony and Fujifilm content. I have a lot more videos planned, a lot more gear that has been sent to me, so we are going to go out and shoot and have a lot of fun. Make sure you go out and shoot this weekend, do some street photography, and I will see you guys in the next video.